Rookie cop Tom Harper tries to prove himself by arresting a man who seems out of place in a restricted zone. What he doesn't realize is that the man is FBI agent Jason Cole, deep undercover on a critical mission. As the truth unravels, the power dynamic flips, and Harper faces the weight of his reckless mistake. But wait until you see how this tense showdown turns into a powerful lesson, and why justice ultimately prevails. Rookie cop Tom Harper gripped the steering wheel of his patrol car, knuckles pale against the dark leather. The late evening streets of Brookdale were unusually quiet, washed in the orange glow of flickering street lamps. For most officers, this stillness was comforting. For Harper, it was suffocating. He needed action, something, anything, to prove he wasn't just another fresh academy graduate with wide eyes and shaky hands. His radio crackled faintly with mundane chatter from other units. A noise complaint here, a traffic stop there. Nothing that would set his record apart. He tightened his jaw and took a slow breath, eyes scanning every parked car, every shadowed alley. Then he saw it. A black sedan, sleek and out of place, sat in a clearly marked no parking zone near an abandoned warehouse. Its windows were tinted just enough to obscure the driver's face, and its engine idled softly. Harper's pulse quickened. Why would someone be sitting there in the dark? This was it. His moment. He pulled the patrol car up sharply, the tires crunching against loose gravel. Reaching for his flashlight, Harper checked his reflection in the rearview mirror. He adjusted his hat, squared his shoulders, and stepped out. The night air was cool against his flushed skin as he approached the sedan, boots clicking against the cracked pavement. "Evening," Harper called, his voice slightly higher than intended. "I'm Officer Harper with Brookdale PD. Roll down your window, please." The driver didn't move right away. After a few seconds, the glass hummed as it lowered, revealing a man with short, dark hair, sharp features, and an unsettling calmness in his eyes. He looked to be in his late 30s, dressed in a black blazer over a plain shirt. He wasn't rattled. He wasn't defensive. He was amused. "Can I help you, officer?" the man asked, his tone almost conversational. "You're parked in a restricted zone," Harper said, gripping his flashlight a little tighter. "I'm going to need to see your license and registration." The man tilted his head slightly as if studying Harper. A faint smile tugged at the corner of his mouth. Not mocking, not friendly, just unreadable. "Are you sure that's necessary?" he asked calmly. Something about the way he said it made Harper bristle. This wasn't the reaction he expected. No nervousness, no flurry of apologies. "Step out of the vehicle, sir," Harper ordered, injecting as much authority into his voice as he could muster. The man didn't move. He didn't even glance at Harper's badge. Instead, he gave a soft chuckle under his breath and looked down at his phone, thumb swiping across the screen. "I don't think you want to do this, officer," he said without looking up. Harper felt heat rising in his chest. This guy was trying to play him, to test his resolve. Not tonight, not on his watch. "Out, now," Harper said, his tone sharpening. The man finally raised his gaze, meeting Harper's with a calm intensity that made the rookie's stomach twist. "Very well," he said simply, and began opening the door. But as Harper stepped back, hand instinctively resting on his holster, he couldn't shake the nagging feeling that he had just stepped into something far bigger than a simple parking violation. The door creaked open, and Jason Cole stepped out with a deliberate calm that made Harper's pulse thrum harder in his ears. The man's movements were measured, almost casual, like someone used to being in control no matter the situation. Even in the dim glow of the streetlights, Harper noticed the faint outline of a scar along Cole's jawline. Subtle, but it hinted at a history Harper couldn't begin to guess. "Hands where I can see them," Harper commanded, forcing his voice to stay steady. Cole raised his hands slowly, his eyes never leaving Harper's. There was no fear in them, no anxiety, only an unsettling composure, like a chess player already 10 moves ahead. "Your authority is impressive, officer," Cole said mildly, "but you might want to reconsider your approach." The words felt like a thinly veiled warning, but Harper's pride was louder than his caution. He tightened his grip on the flashlight and took a step closer, determined to see this through. "Turn around and place your hands on the hood," Harper said. "You're being detained for refusing a lawful order." For the briefest moment, Harper thought he saw something flash in Cole's eyes. Not anger, not fear, but disappointment. Then Cole complied without a word, placing his palms flat against the cool metal of the sedan. Harper pulled out his radio. Unit 47 requesting backup. Possible suspect in restricted zone. Detaining now. The dispatcher's voice crackled back, routine and unaware of the powder keg about to ignite. As Harper reached for his cuffs, he felt a ripple of unease crawl up his spine. Something about this man didn't fit. His calmness wasn't defiance. It felt like restraint. "You're making a mistake, Harper," Cole said softly, his voice edged with something new, an undercurrent of authority that sent a chill through the rookie's chest. Harper froze for a split second at the sound of his name. He hadn't introduced himself. "How do you—" "Brookdale PD, fresh out of the academy. Top marks in firearms, weaker on field tactics. You've been on patrol less than a month." Cole's words were quiet but precise, like he was reciting a file. "I read fast." Harper's breath caught. "Who are you?" he demanded, trying to mask his sudden unease. Cole's head turned slightly, just enough to catch Harper in his peripheral vision. "Someone whose work you've just compromised." Before Harper could react, the sound of an approaching car cut through the night. Backup. Relief mixed with confusion in his chest. "Don't move," Harper warned, stepping back slightly. He needed to hold it together until his sergeant arrived. Then they could sort this out properly. But Cole's words echoed in his mind, heavy with unspoken consequence. "You don't understand what you've stepped into, officer. And when you do, it'll be too late." The sedan's headlights swept across the scene as the backup unit rolled in, but Harper's confidence was already unraveling. The interrogation room felt colder than the night air outside. Tom Harper stood stiffly in the corner, his heart thudding against his ribs. Jason Cole sat at the table, hands resting calmly in front of him. He wasn't slouched, wasn't fidgeting. Instead, he held the kind of stillness that made Harper uneasy, as if Cole wasn't the one in trouble here. Captain Lawrence burst in, his face pale, a folder clutched tightly in his hand. He stopped short when he saw Cole, and the silence that followed seemed to press down on the room. "Harper, do you have any idea who this man is?" Lawrence's voice was quiet, but laced with fury. Harper swallowed hard. He refused to comply. You thought wrong." Lawrence slapped the folder on the table and flipped it open. Harper's eyes darted to the papers, Cole's photo, the FBI seal, and phrases like active undercover operation. "This is Special Agent Jason Cole," Lawrence said. "You just detained an FBI agent in the middle of a mission." Harper felt his stomach drop. His earlier confidence evaporated, replaced by a growing knot of dread. Cole finally spoke, his voice calm but edged with steel. "You didn't stop a criminal, officer. You compromised months of work and put lives at risk." "I didn't know," Harper said, his voice faltering. "No," Cole replied evenly. "You didn't ask." The words hit harder than Harper expected. He stared at the floor, heat rising to his face. Lawrence let out a heavy sigh. "You're suspended pending review. Pray the Bureau doesn't push for more." As Cole stood to leave, he paused by the door and cast one last look at Harper. There was no anger in his eyes, only a cold, quiet disappointment. "Remember this," Cole said. "Next time, hesitation might save lives." Then he was gone, leaving Harper alone with the crushing weight of his mistake. The locker room was quiet, the faint buzz of the overhead lights the only sound. Tom Harper sat on a bench, staring at the badge resting in his open palm. It didn't feel the same anymore. The weight of it wasn't pride or purpose. It was responsibility he hadn't been ready for. His uniform hung neatly behind him, untouched since that night. He could still hear Captain Lawrence's words, sharp and final. "You're suspended pending review." And worse, Cole's calm voice cutting deeper than any reprimand. "You let the badge go to your head." The sound of a door opening made him flinch. "You're still here." Jason Cole stood in the doorway, dressed in a black tactical jacket, his posture relaxed, yet commanding. He stepped in, his eyes scanning the room before settling on Harper. "I didn't expect you," Harper admitted, quickly standing. "Most wouldn't show their face after a mistake like that," Cole replied. "But you did. That's a start." "I know I failed," Harper said. His voice was steady, though his chest felt tight. "But I don't want this to be the end of it. If there's a way to make things right, I'm ready to try." Cole studied him for a moment, his expression unreadable. Then he set a slim black folder on the bench. Harper hesitated before opening it. Inside were photos, maps, and briefing notes, pieces of the operation he'd disrupted. Each page carried the weight of real lives, real stakes. "You didn't just pull over a driver in a no parking zone," Cole said. "You walked into a situation where one wrong move could end careers, or worse." Harper's throat tightened. "I didn't realize." "No, you didn't think," Cole said evenly. "That's why people get hurt. Because someone assumes their badge makes them untouchable." Harper closed the folder slowly. "Then teach me. Show me how to be the kind of cop who doesn't make that mistake again." For the first time, something flickered in Cole's eyes. Not approval, but a quiet acknowledgement. "Tomorrow, 6 a.m., FBI field office. If you show up, you'll work harder than you ever imagined. If not, walk out of here and hang up your badge for good." He turned to leave, pausing briefly at the door. "Second chances don't come often, Harper. Don't waste this one." The door clicked shut behind him, leaving Harper alone with his thoughts. He looked down at his badge once more. This time it felt heavier, but also like something worth carrying. "Do you want me now to